Hello and welcome to episode 2 of What Wednesday, where I showcase the items that I've sold this past week. And this week, it's been pretty solid. It's been a pretty solid week of sales, and it's including the single highest day of profit that I've had thus far since starting just over 3 months ago. And that was this past Sunday, where I had a profit of $198.04. That was like half of my whole week right there in that one day. So that was pretty awesome. And then on the negative side, I did have 3 sales where the buyers didn't pay. So that was pretty frustrating. I'll be glad when eBay releases the new feature that will require buyers to pay immediately when doing an offer. They currently require it when the buyer purchases an item at list price through the Buy It Now option, but not when taking an offer. So, oh well. There were plenty of buyers that did pay this week, so let's take a look at what sold. So I'm going to start with my sales in Facebook this past week. And first up is this set of Orlamar Tri-Metal Titanium Golf left-handed drivers. So it had the driver, the 3-wood, and the 5-wood. I picked them up at a local thrift store quite a while back and paid $9.32 for them. And sold for $100 plus shipping. And then next up was a local sale through Facebook Marketplace, which is what highly contributed to that great day on Sunday. There was a potential buyer that contacted me about, it was a security floodlight that I had for sale on Facebook Marketplace, and he asked if it was still available, and I responded back and said that it was. And then a little bit later that day, he responded and said he was interested in that. He said that he was interested in that item along with several other items that I had for sale. And so he listed those items and asked what kind of deal I could give him. So I looked him over, and I basically did a bundle deal and gave him like a 10% off. And he was happy with that. And then I also mentioned that I had a lot more items in my eBay store and gave him a link to that. So he said he would check it out. Then a little bit later, he made some changes to his order. And anyway, let's go over the things that he bought. So there were 3 items. There was that motion security floodlight, which was the original item that he contacted me about. And that came from the Walmart returns pallet, where I paid $3.63, sold it to this guy for $26.73. So the second item that this gentleman got was this fake mini NES console, which was in the electronics mystery box number 2, where I paid $7.75, and I sold it to this person for $17.74. He also got a rechargeable hand mixer, and that came from the Walmart returns pallet, where I paid $3.63, and it sold for $29.43. And then he must be stocking up for next winter, or maybe he knows of a cold snap that's going to happen later this spring. But he purchased 3 heated blankets. The first one was a Sherpa heated blanket, which is really nice and soft. I almost wanted to keep it myself, but this also came in the Walmart returns pallet, so it cost $3.63, and I sold it to him for $17.73. The other 2 were a pair of plaid heated blankets, which also was on the Walmart returns pallet, where I paid $3.63 and sold it for $17.73. And then he also got this electric griddle from me, which also came from the Walmart returns pallet. It's pretty interesting that the majority of the things that he got happened to be items that were on the Walmart returns pallet. But this electric griddle was $3.63, and I sold it to him for $17.73. Then he got this Jimi Hendrix record, which again was on the Walmart returns pallet, so cost $3.63, and he paid $17.73 for it. And then the last item that he got for me was this dual dash cam. This one actually came from the Electronics Mystery Box number 3, which that video is not out yet. That'll be the very next video, which should come out later this week. But I paid $7.77 for the item, and he bought it for $35.18. So total before the discount that I gave him, I believe the items added up to around $200, and so I charged him $180. So that's it for Facebook sales this week. Let's go ahead and look at the eBay ones. First up is an audiobook. Actually, the first 2 items were audiobooks. This first one is Sting by Sandra Brown. I actually picked up, I think, 33 audiobooks at this one yard sale a couple weeks ago. And I only paid like 50 cents each for them. Actually, a little bit less. So it actually equaled out to be about 48 cents for each audiobook. And this particular one sold on eBay for $5.24 plus shipping. The second audiobook that sold was The Sanctuary by Ted Decker, and it sold for $5.24 plus shipping. The next item was this patio curtain panel, which I got on the Walmart returns pallet for $3.63. There were 2 different curtain panels that I got on this pallet, and they were 2 different colors. So I would think that most people would want 2 panels, but I guess this customer, all they needed was 1, so they bought it from me for $6.99 plus shipping. This next item was a pretty interesting one. You'll see it in my next video because it was also on the Electronics Mystery Box number 3. So it was the smallest item in the box, and I almost missed it. It was kind of hiding, and when I pulled out one of the last items, I heard something fall in the box, and I looked down, and it was this little plastic case that had an SD card in it. And I'm like, okay. And so when I look at it, there's a label on it, and it was actually a 2021 Navigation Maps SD card for Mazda 3 vehicles. And I was very pleasantly surprised when I looked up the comps for it, because they were running about $50. So, for each item in that mystery box, it cost $7.77, and I sold this item for $49.87 plus shipping. So that one was a pretty good one. And it obviously was very cheap to ship it, because it was very light. It was way under 4 ounces, so it went out really cheap. Alright, next up we have a Panasonic VCR that I picked up at Goodwill. It might have been a month and a half, maybe 2 months ago now. It's hard to say. I don't have it in front of me, but I paid $10.48, and surprisingly, I'd learned from another reseller that actually lives in the same state that I do, in Virginia here, about an hour and a half away. I've been watching. He's called Commonwealth Picker, or his name is Kevin. I'll actually link his channel down below if you're not familiar with him, which I'm sure you are if you're watching reselling videos. But he's one that really likes his VCRs, and for some reason I find myself interested in them as well, because I'm just baffled by how quickly they sell, and for the prices that they sell for. But anyway, this one hadn't been selling, so I took a look at it, and it did look like ones similar to it weren't selling for as much as I had mine listed for. So I went ahead and dropped the price, and then I believe I then took an offer that somebody submitted. So it ended up selling for $26 plus shipping. And then next up, if you'd watched the first What Wednesday video last week, you'll have seen a similar item to this one. I sold another tin soldier Napoleonic Wars French grenadier. And if you'd watched that video, you'll have heard the story of. So I got a whole bag of these like metal figurines, war figurines, And I think I got that whole bag for, I think, $5 or $6. And I've already sold a few things out of it. This is the second one that's been in the 40 some dollar range, so well into the profit, and there's plenty more that actually are worth quite a bit. So it'll be interesting to see what the total profit that I get out of the $6 that I invested in this. So it equaled out to be that I paid 25 cents for this this tin soldier, and it sold for $43, and it sold for $43 plus shipping. All right, the next item is this Pioneer Woman cookie jar, which I received in the Walmart returns pallet. So I paid $3.63, and it sold for $19 plus shipping. But I actually have this item being returned to me. I just found out this morning. So originally I wasn't sure that I was going to list it because it's actually a misprint. The writing on the jar is actually upside down, and so I thought, I don't know, there's people out there that enjoy having misprints or odd things like this. So cause it's a conversation piece, and plus they would get, I was giving them a pretty good deal. So I listed it, cheaper than what the normal ones were going for, and this buyer purchased it, and like I said, he contacted me this morning and said that he wanted to return it. He didn't realize it was a misprint, even though I had misprint in capital letters in the title. I had pictures of the misprint, and I had it in the description, but as you probably know, buyers don't always read or look at everything, so it's okay. I'll get it back. I'll probably still list it, and maybe try to make it more pronounced that it's a misprint. I'm not sure, but it did sell originally for $19 plus shipping. But since it was the buyer's mistake and he owned up to not realizing it, obviously he has to pay the return shipping. But anyway, no biggie. So moving on to the next item that I sold this week was an Our Generation doll, Megan, and she has like this little dog. Actually a pretty cool item. I got this in the Target Toys palette, which I've been struggling to sell the items out of. I'm not sure what it is because there's a lot of cool toys in it, and I have sold some, but I still have probably like $550 to $600 that I need to sell to break even. So I know I'll get there. It's just a matter of how long it'll take. It's definitely taking longer than I thought. But anyway, I paid for this item $7.83, and I sold it for $15 plus shipping. It actually went international through the global shipping program, and I believe it went to Canada. But anyway, moving on. The next item that sold was this Top Gun Ultra 4K DVD and Blu-ray set. This came in the Electronics Mystery Box number 2, and I paid $7.75 for it, and it sold for $11.90 plus shipping. Next up, we have this 2-pack security camera set. This also was in that Electronics Mystery Box number 3 that will be in the next video. But I paid $7.77 for this item, and it sold for $45.30 plus shipping. But this is one of the items that the buyer has not paid, and I think they have until tomorrow to pay. If they don't pay by tomorrow, then I will cancel their sale, relist the item, and I'm sure it'll sell again because it's a really good item. I'm not sure. I've tried to contact the buyer, haven't heard back, so I don't know what the deal is. But the other two items that the buyers didn't pay, their time frame had already passed, so those sales had already been canceled, and the items relisted. Moving on. Next item is this Star Wars The Mandalorian Mission Fleet Speeder Bike. This was also on the Target Toys palette, so helping me get to that break-even point, but not helping a whole lot because it was a pretty low dollar item. I paid $7.83 for each item on this palette, and this item sold only for $8 plus shipping, so really after eBay fees I probably lost a little bit. Probably lost like 50-60 cents or something. Next up we have this complete DVD series of The Wire. This came in the Electronics Mystery Box number 2, and I paid $7.75 for it, and it sold for $37 plus shipping. I probably could have held out to get a little bit more because some of the sold comps were in the 40s, and I think that's what I had it originally listed for. And I had someone offer me a reasonable amount. I believe we went back and forth a couple of times, and we settled on $37 plus shipping. And then next up, I sold this vintage Wherever Super Shooter electric food gun cookie press. That's a mouthful. But this is actually a find that my wife picked up at a Goodwill and paid $4.20, and it sold for $35 plus shipping. So that was a pretty good find. This was another one that we did take an offer. I probably would have countered back, but a little bit higher. But since it was a find that my wife picked up, I asked her, I was like, hey, you're the one that picked this up. This was the offer that someone made. What do you think? And just like, take it. which is a great offer. I mean, we're making about $30 on it, so it's a good deal. So the other interesting story about this item was that I was watching another reseller's video yesterday or the day before, where one of the things that he was doing, he was going over some items that he had picked up to resell, and he had found one of these exact items that, the super shooter, and when he put the price comp or sold comp on the screen of the video, it was actually my comp here that we just sold. So I thought that was pretty cool. But that channel was Pallet Jackin. I really like their channel. They're really cool. It's a brother-sister that resell together, and they're an awesome channel. But I'll link their channel below if you want to check them out. Next up, we have this Sharper Image Calming Massaging Weighted Heat Pad that came in the Target Toys palette for $7.83, and I sold it for $39.99 plus shipping. This is a pretty awesome item, but it was very heavy. Thought about keeping it, but there's too much profit in it to not sell it. Alright, and then next up, we sold this Anker 20,100 milliamp hour power bank. Came in the Electronics Mystery Box number 3 for $7.77, and we sold it for $24.93 plus shipping. Next up, we have another item from the Electronics Mystery Box number 3. So actually there's quite a few items from that mystery box that sold this past week, and so it might be kind of a spoiler for some of the items that came in that mystery box for when that video comes out in a few days. But this particular item was a wireless 4-probe digital meat thermometer, and so again I paid $7.77, and I sold it for $19.99 plus shipping. Next we have a Garmin heart rate monitor with strap. I picked this up at a thrift store I think a couple months ago when we were thrifting we did like a whole thrifting day at probably 5 or 6 different thrift stores, and this was a pretty good find. And over the past a couple months that I've had it listed, I've had quite a few people make offers on it, and I'd countered back and nobody would quite get to the amount that I was willing to take until just this past week. So it did sell for $42 plus shipping, and we only paid $5.79 for it. So that was a pretty good find right there. And it was brand new. I mean, it was an open box, but it had never been used. It still had like the protective plastic on it so it was brand new. Next up, this actually sold, I think, yesterday. It was a tabletop TV stand that came in the Walmart returns pallet. I don't think it was super heavy. Wasn't that expensive of an item, so I wasn't even sure if it would ever sell, because it was going to cost probably more to ship it than it was worth. But it did sell for $8.99 plus shipping, and paid $3.63. So I did make, maybe like $4 on it or something. Next up is another power bank. This one's an 8,000 milliamp hour portable power bank. Actually, probably got, I know I got a bunch of these same items on that Walmart returns pallet, but I forget the exact number. It might have been like around 10 or something. So I believe this was the first one to sell, and it sold for $4.94 plus shipping. And I think I did sell, I believe I started a markdown sale yesterday, and this item was one of the things that sold. And I believe that tabletop stand, the last item, I believe that was another one that sold during that sale. And then the last item, which just sold today, was this RC Forza Motorsports Bugatti Chiron. I think that's how it's pronounced. Could be totally butchering it. But actually, what you see pictured here wasn't exactly what the buyer purchased, because he put in an offer and then he sent me a message saying that all he wanted was the body, none of the electronics. And so I responded back and I said, so like the whole car, or just like the shell of the car? And he's like, just the shell. I'm like, okay, so you just want the shell. Like, okay. And his offer was only, I think I had this item listed for $10, and he had an offer of $8. So I'm like, sure, why not? I figured it was an item that wasn't going to be a quick seller anyway. If it did sell at all, it was going to be, who knows. So I was like, I have a buyer here, I'll take it. I probably ended up making pretty much the same that I would have anyway, because of the reduced shipping. So for this item, I paid $7.83 for it, and it sold for $8 plus shipping. So after fees and stuff, it would have been it was a little bit of a loss, but no biggie. And then, so that's the list of sales that we got for the week, and that gave us 28 sales, plus the one that is unpaid and will probably remain unpaid and will get canceled tomorrow. But those 28 sales gave us a net profit, which means after all eBay fees, Facebook fees, whatever fees that I got charged for using on their online platforms, taking off the shipping fees and the cost of the items. So basically, full profit in my pocket, $383.85. So that's not bad. I'm very pleased with that amount. That's quite a bit more than last week. I believe last week was just over $300. So it's about $80 more this week than last week. I'll take it. So all in all, I'm very pleased with the sales that I'm getting. I'm a new reseller. I've only started about 3 months ago, and my sales continue to trend upwards. And that's a lot to do with I'm continually listing. I'm listing as much and as often as I can to continue to get my numbers up. I believe just this past week, just a couple days ago, I surpassed over 500 listings on eBay, active listings on eBay. So that's really helping to get more sales. The more things you have listed, the more things that are out there for people to see, the more likely you are to get sales. So I've definitely noticed that the more items that I have listed, the more sales that I get. So I'm continuing to get that number even higher. I believe in one of my videos, one of my unboxing videos, I mentioned that I had a goal of getting it to over 500 before my birthday. Well, I've definitely did that because I still have almost a month left before my birthday. So very happy with shattering that goal that I had set, and so who knows what number I'll be at by my actual birthday. So I don't think I can make it to 1,000 because it would take a whole lot more listing to get that far. Well, that's going to do it for this week's episode of What Wednesday. Thank you very much for watching. I truly appreciate each and every one of you, and I hope that you got something out of this. And if you don't mind, if you have any suggestions, something that you would like to see or want me to add or do differently, something that would make more sense to you, whatever it is, if you have any suggestions, please let me know in the comments below. Just shoot me a message. I'll read all of my messages. As I mentioned earlier, be on the lookout in a few days for my next unboxing video, which will be that third electronics mystery box from Catchin' Deals. And in the meantime, go ahead and check out some of my other videos. If you haven't seen them all, go ahead and go to that liquidation unboxing playlist or check out the other videos that I have. There's plenty there. I've been trying to put out a bunch this past month just to give you guys content to look at and watch. So I would appreciate that. But until next time, keep on flipping.